Stove God said 3.14. Boy, let's really talk pie. Shout out Stove God Cooks, man. I had to hit him with the Stove God Cooks this morning. All right. This is the Nike Pegasus Plus. This is Nike's latest and greatest training shoe. This was the inspiration behind Nike Week. It is now Nike Week Day 7 for the past week. I've been running exclusively in Nike shoes. Well, why is that? It's not just because they dropped this shoe. It's because of everything that Nike represents to me as an American consumer, as a child of the 90s and the 2000s. Nike represents whatever the opposite of that mobility van is. That's what Nike represents. The Braun Ability Dodge Caravan, that is a great, highly functional utilitarian vehicle. Nike represents swag, performance, athletics. Going out there and going hard. Going hard or going home. Jordan, LeBron, Serena. Mononymical athletes. That's what Nike represents. But over the past, let's say, 5 to 10 years, not just in running, but across all of their sports and even in lifestyle, Nike's been losing share. Yeezy came through in the 2010s. Yeezy just jumped over Jumpman. The Yeezy Boost, the Ultra Boost, overtook some of the shoes. And now Nike's making a little bit of comeback. You got the girls everywhere rocking the Air Force Ones at the private schools. It seems they've lost the zeitgeist. It seems they lost the culture and the heart of what made them special. So I did a revisit this past week. I've run 100 miles across Nike shoes. Alpha Fly, Vomero, Zoom Structure, Streak Fly, Infinity Run, Invincible, and Pegasus Plus. I have not run any miles in the Pegasus, and I don't think I ever plan to run any miles in that shoe again. But in this video, what we are going to do after we get some more miles in the Pegasus Plus, because we need to test. Doesn't really taste like much. We need to test the Pegasus Plus still to see if it can be a little bit better than an overpriced flippy floppy fake ZoomX Glumex shoe. This is what it is. They call it ZoomX. This is Glumex or Doomex. This is Broomex because it's trash. This is not real ZoomX, bro. $180. I ran in the Streak Fly yesterday. That is real ZoomX. This is not real ZoomX. So we're gonna do some more testing on this shoe this morning. I've only put 8 miles in it, and then yesterday I used it for casual use. We went to soccer. Mason had soccer tryouts, by the way. We named our daughter Mason because my wife's name is Charlie, and we wanted to give a gender-neutral name. We named our youngest daughter Joy. That's not gender-neutral. But it's also kind of one of those names that immigrants give their kids. Anyway, we named our daughter Mason. So the commissioner of the Mint Hill Soccer League just put her in the boys' tryouts, and she was just ripping. I mean, that aerobic base was strong. She was hunting down those kids. They had this game where you had to run around with a cone, you know those little orange cones, and then slam it on the top of the soccer ball. And she was just hunting down those kids. She would chase around a kid for 90 seconds, and then boom, he gone. So she's a beast with the boys. They throw her in the boys just because her name is Mason. The guy was not doing his research. It's completely uninformed shenanigans. But she was crushing it. So I was wearing this because it kind of looked like a soccer cleat. So I had to pull up like I was Lance Donovan. Zidane. Shout out Trinity Rodman, though. Putting in work. Nike Week Day 7, let's go. Bang. Bang. And Stove God Cook said, umbrellas out. It's raining cats and dogs and bricks. How do you come up with that stuff? Doesn't even make sense. But it's lovely. That's lovely poetic language. Real vivid imagery by the young Mr. Cooks, Aaron Cooks from Syracuse, New York. Shout out to upstate New York. And shout out to my guy Vinny B, who's also from upstate New York, and who reviewed the Pegasus Plus before me. And so here's the thing. If you're looking for reviews on the Pegasus Plus, or the Skyflow, or the Balos, or any shoe, and you think my opinions are trash, you can sign up for the Supwell app. It's $1 a month, and we have some great reviews going up there by the community. We have reviews, we have trading discussion. I've started to post some exclusive content on there. What else do we have? Oh, buy, sell, and trade marketplace. How could I forget? If you're looking for the best running shoe deals in the game, check out the Supwell app. Especially if you are an American man with feet sized 8 to 13, which is probably most of the people watching. Actually, I don't know. That's probably 60% of you. That's most of the stuff for sale. Lots of good inventory on there. All right, lacing up the Peg Plus here. I did the full first run review the other day. Plan for this run, we are going to get another 8 to 10 miles. I ran 27 miles yesterday, 27-mile long run in the Streak Fly. So today, just a nice little recovery jaunt around the block. Charlie did her first run in these last night. She ran just around the neighborhood here. Just stepping into one of these last night, putting hers on, she immediately felt how firm it was. She's been running in the 1080 V14, the more V5, she even likes the high-low impact. I think she likes a little bit of softer cushion shoes, Topo Atmos. These felt very firm to her. In putting them on, she actually said the upper wasn't that comfortable. And because she's a 4-foot striker, she lands really aggressively on her toes. She felt this piece here, and I said this in my first run review, how's this piece going to do? She felt it bunching up a ton when she was running. So it seemed like there's a little bit of weird issues. Also, when I told her this was $180, her jaw dropped. Her jaw absolutely dropped. Oh, and she's also run a few times in the Ultra Boost, which is $180, and she thought that was more worth it than this, and said that was way bouncier and softer than this. So we'll see how this does. The reason I wanted to shout out my guy Vinny B, not just because of his Pegasus Plus review, but because I DM'd him on the Supwell app, and he told me yesterday that this does break in a little bit. By the way, people always ask me, how do I keep my shoes so clean? You can see there's some dust accumulating here because I took it to the soccer field yesterday to watch my young soccer budding star out here scoring hat tricks against the boys, bro. Bang! The reason I keep my shoes clean, right? We wipe them down. We got to wipe them down after any run where there's even a speck of dirt. You got to keep those Nikes clean, bro. You can't be pulling up to the function with some beat Nikes, with some rocked Forces. No creases on these Forces, baby. Might have to pop out with the Nike Air Force One 30-mile long run review since 27 wasn't enough. Show these little boys how we really get it popping in Lowell, Massachusetts. High tops, too. Black high top Air Force Ones. Let's go. You guys missed the talking now? We back. I might have to change out of these features. Throw on some dry fit crew socks, just in case somebody needs to get dunked on. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. I'm going to change out of this hoodie and then we can go. Look at that. Nike. Man, the cicadas are out this morning. And we got, man, look at those salmon shoes. Bang! 10 miles, 7:17 pace. Little Michael Vick with a Ryan Tannehill. 1 hour, 13 minutes, 13 seconds. Little double Kurt Warner right there. And football season's coming up. Can you tell I'm amped? Look at these. Certified dad drip. It's like someone, oh. And there we go. Yes, sir. It's like someone, you know those boxes with all the buttons? You press a button and it says something? That's what it was like this morning. Bang! There we go. Let's go. Megovic. Kurt Warner. Greatest hits. But you know what this shoe feels like? I was spending the entirety of that run, which was a nice, solid run. Good, steady pace. I was spending the entirety of that run trying to think about what this foam felt like. It has a very distinctive, almost if you could imagine running on top of sushi, and not just because this is a salmon colorway, but if you could pretend to run on top of sushi in your brain, some sashimi, some nice fatty tuna, that's what this would feel like. And it has a similar geometry as to this other shoe I was thinking about. I couldn't figure out until the last few steps here. Oh, and there's Charles in the mom wagon right there. Until the last few steps here. And then I realized Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, a shoe that I disliked so much, I gave it away for free on the Supwell app to my friend Philip Chu from Texas, and hopefully he enjoys it more than I do. That shoe did not work for my stride, my mechanics, my size, how I run, liking to put down more power into a shoe. It felt firm and too mushy at the same time, the Speed 4. This foam feels like the best version of what that could be. In the foam in the Speed 4, the midsole felt a lot different. And look at this. We got some dirt. We're going to wipe it down. But felt a lot different than the Speed 2 and Speed 3. It didn't feel as soft. It didn't feel as bouncy. It had a slightly different character. And maybe it was because they did something different with the plastic plate, firming it up. But this has a similar dense feeling with that bounce to it. But I like it a lot more. So I'm not going to go ahead and start calling this the Nike Pegasus bust, which I was planning on doing. 7 miles at a steady pace. And this shoe was awesome. So this is going to have to go on the honorable mention list for best Nike shoes. The price point is a little bit absurd at $180. This rides like a daily trainer with some pep to it, which is theoretically what the standard Pegasus should be. So when I reframed expectations this morning, and this was just a regular 10-mile morning run, a daily run, this is what you use a daily trainer for, reframe my expectations for the shoe, it did awesome. I could totally use this shoe for all of my morning miles, and today should have been a recovery type of run, right? Because we did that 27-miler yesterday. And this shoe did great. It had me bopping along similar to something like the Hoka Mach 5. Definitely not as soft, but a lot of pep to it. Decent comfort. I enjoy the upper. Charlie felt it was a little bit restrictive, and she tends to have some issues with the toe boxes, so it's definitely not the widest, but I didn't have any rubbing here. So it's a solid shoe, and if you're watching this in December 2024, once the prices on this go down and you can find it at outlets and this colorway is slashed to $130 at Dick's online, then it's going to be a great buy. But right now at $180, it just feels like too much money for what it is. Peppy daily trainer, you can have those for $140, but I did enjoy this shoe a lot for this run, a lot more than the first run, and that's why I like to do multiple runs on different feeling legs. That didn't really make much sense, but when I'm tired, when I'm fresh, different paces. My first run was a 6:30 pace 8-miler, and I was trying to hammer down to 6:10 pace and faster. I just couldn't get there. Today, hanging out at 7 flat, it was perfect for me, so faster end of my everyday miles. That's what this thing is shaping up to be perfect for. And I did get a little bit more ground feel. I still think they could either bump the forefoot up by 2 millimeters or even reduce the heel stack by 2 to lower out that drop. That's what gives a little bit of that slappy, slippy, sloppy feeling that I got in the Speed 4 as well. But definitely not a bust. It's not ZoomX, though. This is still Glumax. This is a different ZoomX. We'll come up with the right name for it, but this is not the standard ZoomX. One thing I did see that I didn't notice in the first run, look at that. I'm sure you've seen this before if you're a shoe addict, but 2024 and 2018, because the first Pegasus Turbo came out in 2018. All right, that was honorable mention. Let me go shower, and then we can pop out here for the rest of the list. What do you think? Let's get into it. What do you think? Should we just do it? Just do it. Bang! All right, Dan from Longevity is here. I'm telling you, he cuts 80% of the lawns on my street. Talk about mafia. I don't think it's all by just business. I think he's let's just say the weeds aren't the only things that are getting whacked around here. I should have pulled up in a pair of wind flows this week, but I think I'm gonna save the wind flows for a different week. And I need to get permission from the Don before I run in the wind flows, and it's getting hot. Also, I think he might be coming. That's not good. I think he might be coming to cut my grass. And then it's gonna be super loud. But all right, first shoe here, best Nike daily trainer of 2024. It is still the Nike Vomero 17. And I wish I had this in a different colorway, because in this green, it doesn't look that exciting. It's a little bit drab. It's a little bit dull. It almost looks gray. It does have a cool, nice gum sole tan rubber on the bottom, but it doesn't do the shoe justice. I think if it were in a brighter colorway, it would pop a little bit more, get you a little bit more excited about running in the shoe. But what this shoe is a workhorse daily trainer, so a shoe that can take a lot of miles and still give you some decent comfort and pep. So it combines two of Nike's best foams. Actually, Nike's two best foams. You have the Cushlon on the bottom. This is my favorite training foam from. Say that 3 times fast. It's like Jake Fromm from State Farm. Training foam, Cushlon on the bottom, the race foam, ZoomX on the top. Again, this is not the same ZoomX in the Alpha Fly, in the Vaporfly. This is more like BoomX. It's not DoomX or Gloomex or BroomX because it's good, but it's not the same. This is the BoomX in here, and it provides a nice little soft step-in feel, a nice squish, a nice pop, and a nice bounce. And this is almost a combination of a max cushion shoe with the 37mm stack height in the back with more of a stripped down lower ground feel connection. So it's business in the front, party in the back. You get the squish in the back and a little bit of that ground feel and connection in the front. I have 200 miles on this shoe. It's durable. It can do any type of a run. It's not the fastest shoe. You can use it for throwing in some strides. So strides are during a relaxed run. Maybe you'll do a little bit of pace pickup for 10 to 30 seconds just to get the legs moving. You can do that type of a thing in this shoe. I wouldn't personally choose it for a speed workout, but I also ran 27 miles in the Streak Fly yesterday, so you can pretty much use any of these shoes for any type of run in 2024. They're all decently lightweight. They all have a decent amount of bounce. There's 20% difference between all of them, but this is the one that's most down the center of the plate, and you can also find it for under $100. Do not use my Running Warehouse link for this shoe. Don't, because on certain shoes, the Invincible and this Running Warehouse won't have deals. I don't know why. Dick's has deals, and then Nike.com has deals. I got to talk to Running Warehouse. Chicken wing around, we don't go on there. Well, I swear, every day it's something different. And here's the thing, last week I thought I think this morning was our last good run for a while, because this week it's gonna be back up in the 90s. Last week I thought, oh my gosh, fall is coming. It's so nice. And then this week I can already feel it. The sun is just burning me right now. It's gonna be hot scorcher, but this is a good combination of all of the nice qualities of the other shoes that I'm going to highlight here. I was gonna say, do not buy it on Running Warehouse. Buy it on Nike.com or Dick's Sporting Goods. You could find it for under $100. Best value shoe. If you are a newer runner looking for one shoe to do everything, get this guy. I recommended it to one of my friends from college, and he just texted me saying he was getting a new pair of shoes after putting 500 miles on this guy. So durable, comfortable, a good amount of pep, can do any type of run, long run, short runs, also in other colorways. I am a professional shoe reviewer, and I do not let things like this get into my head. We are going to persist. Nike Vomero 17, it's also made in China, and it's the best Nike training shoe and the only Nike shoe still made in China. Coincidence? I think not. Next up here we have the Nike Zoom Structure 25. If you look up saying I couldn't pronounce the shoe's name correctly, it's the Zoom Structure 25. There are a few different athletes, elite athletes, some of the fastest athletes in the world. I cannot remember who they are off the top of my head, but some of them prefer this shoe, a stability shoe. Some of the guys who are running fast times, some of the guys who are recording the fastest times for certain distances in the world, who are sponsored by Nike, use the Zoom Structure 25 for their everyday training. Why is that? It's comfortable, it's supportive, and it has a nice amount of bounce. Now, is it as bouncy as something like the Skyward X or the Alpha Fly or the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4? No, but for a workhorse daily trainer, and that's what Nike is great at, making these everyday running shoes that make me feel like I want to go out and smash 27 miles, like I want to go out and just put down 2 hours on a random Thursday morning. That's the character of these Nike shoes. The 10 millimeter drop, the foams that aren't the flashiest, these no frills type of shoes with a lot of rubber that grip the earth and make me feel like a man. I feel like a man when I'm running in the Zoom Structure 25. I do feel like a man when I'm lacing up this shoe. It has some good real men over pronate. So it has some good stability back here. You get this little blue piece, which is a plastic heel clip to hold the foot in place. And then underfoot, this foam is the Cushlon. So that's the same foam that I was telling you is in the bottom of the Vomero. It's my favorite training foam because it has a nice density to it and some nice impact absorption without being too soft. And sometimes when foams get too soft, which I love, shoes like the New Balance 1080 V13, the Balos, even the next Nike shoe that I'm gonna highlight here, sometimes when foams get soft like that, it feels like a little bit more work to run in them. This shoe doesn't feel like any work to run in. I can plod along at any pace. I get a nice bit of snap off the front. Look at this. Look at that. So while the foam itself isn't the bounciest, this isn't a racing foam that's gonna give you a ton of bounce back, it has a good snap to it. Nike also claims it has an air zoom unit up here in the forefoot. I don't feel these air zoom units in the Pegasus and the Zoom Structure do much of anything. Now, speaking of the Pegasus, this is the same price as that shoe, $140. Again, a shoe that you could find on sale for under $100 on Nike.com or Dick's. I think Nike.com actually. But speaking of the Pegasus, this is nearly identical. Same stack height, same drop. Of course, you get more stability. The difference is this shoe has the Cushlon, and the Pegasus, that has the React X, which is by far my least favorite foam in the Nike lineup. I wonder how loud it is for you guys. He's 2 houses away. He's gonna have some hearing damage. That's not good. That's a tough profession. You also get exposed to the UV rays a lot. I can feel it right now. I've only been out here for 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Much better than the Pegasus. For me, the foam feels bouncier. It feels more comfortable. It has a better squish. It's a little bit softer. That React X, I just can't get much out of it. Also, thinking about a casual sneaker, this is the one that I would pick as well. This is the Nike that I would lace up. I would not be taking the Pegasus out. This just feels overall more comfortable. It also has a little bit wider toe box, and yes, it is a stability shoe, but the elements of stability that are in the shoe are not too constraining and constricting. If anything, they just provide a touch more support so that when you're running relaxed, you don't have to worry about your foot sliding around in the shoe. And the other thing is, because this foam is a little bit denser, it also feels great for picking up the pace. I was running some 7 flat pace in it Saturday morning before my run with Mason, and it felt great. Now I might have to test the shoe. Someone suggested that I test the shoe on a double threshold day, because there's this one athlete who apparently popularized that style of training. I cannot remember his name, but he trains in the Zoom Structure 25 as well. So Zoom Structure 25, this is the best Nike daily trainer if you do not want the soft squish of the top layer of the Vomero, but you still want something comfortable and you want something with a little bit of pep. Maybe you're a bigger runner, put down more force into some shoes. Awesome shoe. Also a great walking and work shoe. This is probably the Nike shoe I would get if you're looking for a work shoe out of the Nike sneakers. Romero is good too. It's a little bit softer though if you're spending all day on your feet. For me personally, I like just a touch more structure. I don't like super soft for standing all day, which is why Bruscos Max is my number one work and walking shoe. But out of the Nike lineup, this would be the work and walking shoe. All right, next one. It's one of those things where you don't realize how much it gets into your head until it's gone. Now we can hear the cicadas. He's just talking to somebody. Maybe I'll send Charlie over there to talk to him while I'm filming, so we don't have any of the thing. All right, next up, Nike Invincible 3. This is Nike's soft, bouncy max cushion shoe. This is the one to get if you want soft and comfortable out of Nike. I just can't do it. He's coming. We're gonna have to finish this later, man. This is getting disrespectful out here. I can't do it. Can't do it.
He has been for the past few weeks.
Yeah. The muffin returns. Alright, it's a little fuel intermission here since Dan is coming and just chopping up the grass. But it's only 10:30 a.m. I'm going to have a little lunch part 1 because this is what happens after these super long runs. It's not the first day, it's the day after. The day after, it's metabolism carnage. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of calories at it. This is a bow tie pasta Charlie made yesterday with, can we brighten this up? Bang. Bow tie pasta with some cauliflower and nuts. I'm going to throw some vegan parm on there, a little blueberry muffin, have some OJ, just slam in the carbs and also get some good protein. But I'm going on another run in a little bit, so I don't want to be too full with the protein. But after run number 2 today, we will slam even more calories. So I will see you in a bit for the continuation of the list. All right, Dan from Longevity is gone. We have freshly cut grass in a quiet street. I do think there is a buzzsaw potentially going on and off behind me, but we're just gonna power through. It's quiet right now. So we were in the process of talking about the Nike Invincible 3. This is the soft max cushion shoe in Nike's lineup. They have the Infinity Run 4, they have this. I prefer this for some soft bounce, some squish. If you like that marshmallowy feel of shoes like the 1080, or you want a walking shoe or a comfort shoe and you're looking for the softest thing out there, that would be the Invincible 3. This is one of the softest shoes on the market, and for running, it almost has this one note character to it. Whereas shoes like the Vomero here, this is more of a versatile do-it-all. Same thing with the Zoom Structure. The Invincible can do it all, and I've done 20-mile days. I've taken it for 12-mile runs, and I've gone down to 450 pace, 5 flat pace, doing some strides, but it always feels like it locks into one pace. Toyota Stack Runner, I told you, that's the official state car in North Carolina. This feels like it locks into one pace and it just holds me there for the entirety of the run. And so it doesn't feel that natural at changing gears, and sometimes it can have that fight against the foam feeling. But the reason why I wanted to highlight it on the top 5 list, and I've also highlighted it on the comfort list and some of my favorite Max Cushion shoes list, it's a comfortable shoe, it's a fun shoe, it's a bouncy shoe, and it is the one Max Cushion soft shoe in the Nike lineup, and it does the best job at that. Now, is this the best soft Max Cushion shoe out there? No, absolutely not. New Balance is top of the game right now when it comes to pumping out great soft Max Cushion shoes. They have the More V5, they have the Balos, they have the 1080 V13, and the New Balance Balos, which just came out earlier this month. That's the best version of what this is trying to do. It has the rocker. This doesn't have the rocker. This has a lot of foam in the back and then a flat profile and a 10mm drop, which can create a lot of ground feel and not the easiest transition through. So the Balos almost looked at what this was doing and just made it so much better. Lower drop, 6mm drop with the rocker, and they added ground contact EVA on that shoe. So there's a softer, not rubber piece, but foam on the bottom of the Balos instead of rubber, which creates an even softer landing experience. So is this the best at what it does? No, I would go Balos, and if you don't want to spend $200, I would go 1080 V13. But out of the Nike shoes, this is by far the best soft cushion shoe. There's no other real competitor even within the Nike lineup. So Invincible 3, you can find it at most places on sale for $130 in certain colorways. I think Dick's actually had this on sale for under $100 in this colorway. It's soft, it's bouncy, it's decent for longer runs, and it's a good amount of fun if you can get your legs cranking and turning over to make sure you're not fighting against that foam. All right, now let's get into the Nike racing shoes. These last two are going to be my favorite racing shoe picks. This is the Nike Streak Fly. I ran it for the first time yesterday. I only have 27 miles on it. So why am I highlighting it in the top 5 list? Well, MSRP of the shoe is $170, but you can find it at a lot of places for $130 or cheaper. I actually got this pair, I think, for around $110 or $100 a few months ago, and I took it out of the box and did a 27-mile long run in it, and it handled it perfectly, beautifully. It's a 5K, 10K racing shoe, but it punches well above its weight in terms of the capability. It's comfortable, it looks great, it's got a nice soft foam. This is the real version of the Zoom X. This is almost exactly what I was expecting the Pegasus Plus to be. Light, peppy, streamlined feel, great, well-fitting upper, comfortable, it's light as a feather. It's just an amazing shoe. And if we're thinking about intended purpose, and I always evaluate shoes based on how do they do versus their intended purpose, how do they do versus the other shoes in the category, and how do they do versus the rest of the market. It's my neighbor pulling up in the Tesla. Versus the intended purpose, this is looking to be a light, fast shoe. It crushes it, and it gave me some decent comfort. Now, I am never going to run in this shoe for 3 hours again, but it was only at mile 20 really, so only well past 2 hours or about 2 hours in where I started to feel like, maybe I could use more support, or maybe I can feel this midfoot plate a little more than I would like. But for a 90-minute run, for a workout with some mile repeats, if you're going to go to the track, this is an awesome choice. So this is the shoe that I would pick if you're looking for a fast speed training shoe, interval style training, if you're going to be doing repetitions on the track, or you could even use this for some tempo runs or half marathon training. You could also even use this for a half marathon race if you like a lighter, more connected feel. And it reminds me a lot of my second ever carbon fiber plated race shoe, the Nike Vaporfly 2. In the Vaporfly 3, they bumped up the stack height a little bit. I know it doesn't say that on paper, but it feels like it, and underneath my forefoot, it can feel like I'm fighting against the foam. I know I love Max Cushion shoes, but when there's too much of a soft foam on a shoe that's supposed to go fast, it doesn't feel the best for me. So this is the sweet spot of soft foam in a speed training shoe. It's Supwell certified, man. Took it on a 3-hour run. It performed great. The deal is there, the price is there, the value is there at $130. If you like the old Vaporfly, if you like that light, nimble, almost racing flat, but with some modern characteristics feel to it, this is going to be the pick. It comes in at 195 grams in my size, which is similar to the Asics Metaspeed Edge and Sky Paris, and lighter than any other racing shoes out there other than the Adidas Evo Pro. So Awesome pick if you want a soft, bouncy racer or a training shoe that can handle some shorter runs and maybe some runs up to 90 minutes is probably where I would cap it out. I even had some friends on the Subball app. My guy Maurice said he uses this as a travel shoe because it has so much swag. And then another friend said he got about 200 miles out of it. So that is the one downside. At MSRP, $170, I would expect or hope for a little more than 200 miles. But if you're going to buy this around $100, $90, I mean, you could pick up 2 pairs of this for the same price as the Nike Pegasus Plus. Or you could pick up a pair of the Streakfly and the Vomero. And these could be your 2 shoes to do what the Nike Pegasus Plus does. And it would be probably about $200 if you find the right deals, maybe a little bit above or a little bit below. So this would be an awesome 2-shoe training rotation. Vomero for every day and maybe up to 2-hour long runs. And then you could use the Streakfly for shorter and faster stuff and maybe even races if you're training for the half or 10K. So Nike Streakfly, I cannot believe it took me, 2 years to try this shoe, but I'm glad I did because this is a banger of a shoe, complete banger.
On the track.
Alright, last one. We gotta bring the big dog out. We gotta bring the Demon Time shoe out. We gotta bring out the Hater Incinerator. We gotta bring out the Tarmac Tarin beast of a shoe. This is the Nike Alpha Fly 3. This thing is complete savage. It is complete sicko mode. If you want to lace up a shoe and run angry for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, for an hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for 4 hours, however long you plan on being angry, if you have a vendetta, if you have a question that needs to be answered, if you have a point that needs to be proved, if you have a shoulder and it has a chip on it, if you gotta let them know and you wanna let them know, if they've been disrespecting you, you gotta pop out in the Nike Alpha Fly 3, man. This is a shoe that when I lace it up, I told you guys this last week, I ran a 26-mile day. Anytime I lace this up, it just makes me wanna beat the road like I'm Boss Man D-Lo. It unlocks something deep within me that I didn't know was there. And it just keeps my legs turning over. So this has the ZoomX foam, real ZoomX foam, similar foam as in the Streakfly, but the key difference is here, you have the full length plate. By the way, I should have mentioned Streakfly here, you only have the plate in the middle of the shoe, so that's why I can turn it over like this. You get some good flexibility, which is why people like this for shorter speed training. You want to get a little bit more proprioception, more connection to the ground. Absolutely no connection to the ground, no proprioception, no proprioception. No ground contact, no flexibility. You have the full length carbon fiber plate. You have the Zoom Air units right here. So these are little air pods. They're like little hockey pucks, maybe about a third of the size of hockey pucks filled with air. There's 2 of them on the bottom, full length carbon fiber plate, full length ZoomX on the top right here, and then the back is 100% of the ZoomX. So you get the soft and bouncy foam plus the plate plus the pods. It is a demonic trio. It is an unholy triumvirate. It is a Tarmac Tarin triad. So the beauty of this shoe, it's the AirPods, but it's also how those elements work in concert. You get a little bit of the squish of the top of the ZoomX, you get the plate to reinforce the rocker, and then the pods just keep you going. It's the Energizer Bunny strapped into the shoe. So it's a shoe that took a while for me to really understand how to use it. It's not a cruiser. It's not a daily trainer. I know some people like to use the Alpha Fly for the everyday miles. Whenever I run in this shoe, I have to push myself. I just have to, because the pods, they have this character to them where, yes, they're bouncy at any pace, but they really encourage a faster turnover and they encourage more power. So they want you to run with more speed and with more force. So with a higher cadence and with a longer stride length. You know how Asics has the Metaspeed Sky Paris? That's supposed to be for stride length runners, allegedly. So if you run faster by opening up your stride, putting more power down, they have the Edge Paris, which is supposed to be if you run faster by taking more steps. This thing wants you to do both. It wants you to be all out sprinting for however long you have it. Now, I'm not going to be all-out sprinting, and most of us aren't going to be all-out sprinting, but it does have a lot of speed assistance, and it's a shoe that forces me to also pace myself because it goads me into running fast every time I use it. I called it a marathon PR assault weapon in my first review of it back in January. It's a tool. It really is a tool that, for me, I've had to learn what types of runs is it best for. Am I feeling strong enough to use it today? Because yes, you can run relaxed in it, but for me, it just doesn't feel that great. It doesn't feel like I'm really getting the most benefit out of this shoe. It feels like I would do better in a different shoe, even like the Vomero, unless I'm going at least 7 minutes per mile or faster. So this is an awesome shoe if you want one of the most aggressive shoes on the market for ripping a fast time. This is not the Nike shoe I would pick for walking. It's not the Nike shoe I would pick for casual use. It's not the Nike shoe I would pick for if you want one shoe to do everything. It looks cool, but a lot of the Nike shoes look cool. You can find the right colorways. Even something like the Pegasus Plus, if you want the latest and greatest from training, that would be a much better option than this for everyday miles and for a versatile do-it-all shoe. This is best reserved for 1 or 2 runs per week where you're really going to be pushing yourself, or if you're training for a marathon or a half marathon as a race shoe. Now, I did have some initial concerns with the shoe when it comes to stability, so how connected or just strapped down the back of the foot felt. At first, I wasn't convinced that it was the most stable, especially because it has this heel cutout, but as I've learned to run with the shoe, the stability has gotten better. It does encourage a mid to forefoot landing, so if you're plodding along at a more relaxed pace, like I do sometimes on recovery runs and at slower paces, it doesn't feel that great. But if you're running with force and with strength, be able to optimize these pods, pop off the pods, it's gonna feel good. It is gonna feel good. So this would be my top marathon shoe pick from Nike over the Vaporfly 3. Yes, I used to be a Vaporfly fan, but this shoe has done it for me more than the Vaporfly this year. The Vaporfly is a lot narrower, it feels less supportive, and for me, with my running style, I have that feeling like I can get in the Invincible, like I can get in the Gel Nimbus, where because of that soft foam, it almost feels like I'm fighting against that foam too much. So my last run in the Vaporfly 3 was actually a few months ago, 22-mile long run, and it just didn't feel like it had what I look for when I'm spending a long time on feet. So this would be my marathon shoe pick from Nike. It's probably in my top handful or so of shoes right now. Is this my number 1 favorite marathon shoe? I'm not sure. There's a lot of good shoes out there. Saucony Endorphin Elite if you want fast and firm. New Balance SC Elite V4 or SC Trainer V3 if you're looking for your first race shoe and you're planning on running a 4-ish hour marathon or a 2-hour half marathon, something like the New Balance or the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Those would be my picks. Hoka Cielo X1, that would be my pick if you're looking to spend $300. You want the best of the best. You're looking for fun, you're looking for bouncy. Hoka Cielo X1 is a much more comfortable shoe while still having a lot of the bounce. It just feels a little bit less aggressive than this. So awesome shoe. Would it be my recommendation for everybody? No. If you're looking for a first marathon shoe, it would not be my choice. But from Nike, if you're looking for that first shoe and you're a bigger, taller, stronger runner, I'm 6'2", I consider myself a bigger runner, I would take this over the Vaporfly. Vaporfly sometimes feels like, you guys remember Zion at Duke? The dumped Explorer, just always going back. The Vaporfly can sometimes feel like I'm Zion at Duke when he exploded that Nike. Just not enough. Something about it doesn't feel as substantial as this. And it's funny because the Vaporfly 2 felt perfect for me, similar to the Streakfly. So those are the top 5 shoes. I'm also going to go grab a few of the other shoes from the Nike lineup that didn't make the list. Just bang out some quick insights on those. All right, man, 1:43 p.m. Time for the second run of the day in the Peg Plus. Look at that. We cleaned them up nice, bright, and shiny. I'm going to get probably 6 miles in these. Then we can come back, finish it out with the other Nike shoes. See you when I'm back. All right, man. We should close this thing out. Shoes looking crispy as ever, by the way. I wiped them down. Wet paper towel, just a damp paper towel. Whenever you see some dirt, I'm telling you, after any run, that will do it for the midsole. And uppers, it's a little tricky. The one area that I haven't been able to figure out perfectly how to clean
is the front of the toe box, especially when running in the rain. This shoe hasn't gone through the rain yet, but some of the whiter shoes going through the rain, they'll get that dirt. I do the same, just damp cloth, and it does okay. I haven't found a product, and I don't love putting products on these shoes. We got to keep them organic. But bang, little Kobe MJ right there, 8.23, 1 hour, 33 seconds. 33 seconds. I also think we went 3,300 miles on the year. Shout out Larry Bird officially with that run. And then 7:22 pace. That was a solid run. All right. I'll pop these pegs off. We can close out this video. But man, this is really just what the Pegasus should be in 2024 for $140. At $180, it's still a little bit of an absurd proposition. But with every run that I've done on this shoe so far, I think I need to get a new tripod. This thing is just on its last legs. Get it? Legs. But no, with every run that I've done, I've started to like it more and more. And it's almost falling into that 860 Skyward X camp. I'm not saying I like it as much as those shoes, but where I can't have a bad run. I have not had a bad run in the shoe. I should have been struggling on this run. It's 87 degrees. I ran 27 miles yesterday. That was mile 18 on the day. That's 45 miles in the past 36 hours or so. I should have been struggling a lot. And it's not all because of the shoes. I've certainly built up my fitness, but having a good shoe on can help these types of runs where we're more fatigued feel better. So this is a shoe that's punching well above its weight when we think about the specs on paper, which is justifying the price point a little bit. And I'm actually liking this version of ZoomX a lot for training. It's got pep. It can stand up to my size, my force, my weight. I really want to try it for a fast workout now, ripping some 5:30 pace or 5:20 pace, see how it does for that type of an effort, because it can do those steady miles down at 6:30 pace. It can do my everyday miles. It can do high mileage. Today was 18-mile day, and I'm feeling great. I actually had more pain in my feet and legs this morning, just feeling more fatigued from yesterday, than I do now. So comfortable shoe for what it is. It's not going to be as comfortable as the Invincible or the Vomero, but for what it is, comfortable shoe. This is definitely ratcheted up. It's climbed up the ladder of lightweight speed training shoes. If we think about SL2 at the top in the speed daily category for me, and then Mach 6, this probably overtook the Hyperion 2 today, and also the Rebel V4. The Rebel V4 could get a little soft, and for high mileage for me, didn't feel the best. Also, it could have a little bit of negative drop feeling, meaning the back of the shoe could feel like it was lower than the front of the shoe due to the softness of the foam. This doesn't have that because the high drop, there's some elements of the shoe still holding it back. And now we're at 26 miles in this shoe. So I'm sure my thoughts will evolve as we put more miles on it. But if it had a little bit of a lower drop, it could have a bit of a wider toe box. But it's a solid shoe. It's not a bad shoe at all. I had the Tracksmith Elliott runner out here the other day, and it's more enjoyable for me for running than the Tracksmith Elliott runner. Definitely on the firmer side, but it's got some nice bounce to it. It's not a dud. It's not a flop. It's not a bust. And it's not Gloomex or Doomex. It is VroomX. It is VroomX for sure. It's different than what we see in some of these OG shoes. It's 100% not the same ZoomX as the Vaporfly here. But it's a solid foam. It's a solid shoe. I'm happy with it. I could do a 100-mile week in this guy probably, but I'm not going to do that because I just did a 100-mile week across a bunch of Nike shoes. But Pegasus Plus, man, I just wish it were $60. That's the thing. Because every other brand has a comparable shoe to this that's cheaper. So it's a little bit of a tough sell at $180, but I am pleased and pleasantly surprised at how much I've liked this shoe today. And it wasn't even my plan to do the 18-mile double. It just flowed through me. And that's the thing, man. You just got to do whatever comes to you. You just got to rock with it. That's the hobby jogger lifestyle, baby. All right, let's hit this final breakdown. Let's wrap it up. We don't have that much time left, and I spent 2 minutes of it fighting with the tripod. So
Last thing I want to say on the Pegasus Plus here, this is a good shoe. $180 still feels steep, but it's a little bit firmer than the SL2. It's a little bit more traditional feeling than the Mach 6. It feels like a fast workhorse daily. I've not had a bad run in it yet. I was cruising 2 runs today around 710 to 720. It held up really well. So we'll do a long run and some faster pace in it at some point. I don't know when that will be, but solid shoe. Gonna leave it at honorable mention for now. Now, last few shoes I wanted to talk about today. Standard Pegasus here. I did a 100-mile week in this shoe. I do not recommend it. I don't want to do bad shoes or shoes not to buy, but this is a shoe not to buy from Nike. The Pegasus Plus is a much better version of what this is. The foam is bouncier. It feels more supportive. It feels more comfortable. Everything about the Pegasus Plus is better than the Pegasus. And then if you're looking for the standard daily trainer, go for the Vomero or go for the Zoom structure. This is just a little bit of a mess. Narrow toe box, feels thin in the forefoot. The 10mm drop feels even higher than that. Zoom structure is the best version of what this is. Now, a few other shoes here. Nike Infinity RN. It's kind of dark. Is that better? This is another one to get if you might be considering the Pegasus for a casual or a lifestyle shoe. This is more comfortable. It looks pretty similar. It has more foam, but it's a better version of the Pegasus. Again, Nike has 4 other shoes that are a better version of the Pegasus. MSRP of this is $160 or $160 or $170, but you can find it. I got this for $130 at Dick's. You can find different colorways of this online for $90 or cheaper. So if you want a firmer shoe for casual use and you don't like the look of the Zoom structure and you want something with more cushion, this will be solid. It's not a great shoe. I would recommend Saucony Hurricane 24 or Brooks Ghost Max for walking. But from Nike, this is a solid pick. It's not as squishy as the Invincible. So if you don't want the squishy, the Invincible, if you don't want a stability shoe like in the Zoom structure, if you're thinking about the Pegasus, go for this instead. And I need to ship this off to my friend who bought it on the Supwell app. Now, last shoe I wanted to talk about here. This used to be my favorite shoe from Nike. The Vaporfly. It used to be my favorite marathon shoe, my favorite half marathon shoe, or just race shoe in general. I don't think I've actually ever run a marathon in this, and that's because of the Vaporfly 2 here. And if you look at the forefeet of these 2 shoes, and this is what I'm saying about you can't trust the shadows right there, but this is what I'm saying about you can't trust the specs. Let me see. Sometimes the specs are disrespectful, but look at the forefeet of these 2 shoes. The Vaporfly 3, which is this white one, is definitely thicker than the Vaporfly 2. I think on paper they say that they're the same. Also look, Vaporfly 2, way more of a rocker, way more curve. Something about the Vaporfly 2 just works better for me and for a lot of runners out there. And you'll see even elites, more elites would race in this than the Vaporfly 3. And some elites at the Paris Olympics were still racing in the Vaporfly 2. So the magic of the shoe was lightweight. It would float you right along. The ZoomX had just the right amount of compression, softness, and pop. They lost the magic a little bit in the 3. They see me rolling. It's not a cop. It's not a cop because it had California plates. They lost a little bit of the magic with the additional foam. The best thing about this shoe, honestly, is my colorway, the Kipchoge colorway. He's a complete legend. And also the upper is really nice, and I like the shoe because Charlie got it for me for my birthday last year. It's 3 p.m., so that's all I'm gonna say, but I do not recommend Vaporfly. If you want light and fast, out of the market this year, Rocket X2, I only did 1 run in that. I wanna test that again, but that's the closest feeling shoe I've found to the Vaporfly 2. Diodora Gara also has a little bit of that character. Everyone wants to buy the Diodora Gara from me. I'm not selling it. That also has more of a rocker and a little bit denser foam. That's one of the best shoes out there. And then the Asics Metaspeed shoes, if you hate fun and want a fast feeling shoe, go for either the Edge Paris or the Sky Paris. But this was Nike week. We ran 100 and something miles in all these random shoes. I'm late for my meeting, but man, this was what Nike week was about. Just putting in the work, doing it up in our best, and having some fun. So I hope you guys got a lot of laughs. I want to make sure on this channel I'm not just repeating the same thing over and over again, doing the same thing over and over again. So I tried something new. I tried to stretch the limits of my creativity and what we're doing on this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really do. This was a fun week. I will see you guys tomorrow for another video on a totally different topic. thank you so much for the support, guys. It means a lot. And to see the reception to the video I did yesterday, again, it means a lot, and I'm talking myself out of a job. I'm 2 minutes late.
All right, beautiful, steaming hot recovery dinner. Look at this. We have the farro. This is one of my favorite dishes that Charlie makes. Farro with the tomatoes, spinach. What's the magic of the sauce? Veggie broth?
Super simple.
Super simple, she says. Veggie broth with what else? The vegan parm.
Yep. Onions, garlic, tomatoes.
Onions, garlic, tomatoes, basil. Bang. And then a little bit of
Pizza.
vegan sausage. Pizza in a bowl. And then cornbread that she made yesterday with the homemade chili mac. So it's going to be fire. A little recovery meal. See you tomorrow.